Welcome back to the Hoyu Professional USA YouTube channel. Today's video will serve as a product overview for Promaster IC, one of the newest additions to the Promaster family. Promaster IC is comprised of 3 warm tones ranging from red to purple, and as you can see in the model photos below, are very intense, vivid colors never seen before in the Promaster lineup. You may be wondering, what does the IC stand for in Promaster IC, and it is an abbreviation for intensive color. We gave it this name because the color provides maximum vividness we haven't really seen before in Promaster's warm tones. We highly recommend Promaster IC for those who want to enjoy more vivid, more strong warm tones, and maybe felt that Promaster's warm tones were a little lacking in the past. As I mentioned previously, Promaster IC's lineup is comprised of 3 hues. The mix ratio for developer is going to be a 1:2 ratio, with the developer always being double to that of the color. Whether you're using the 20 volume for a standard coloring, or perhaps you're using our 6.7 volume to deposit some color on bleached hair, regardless, we always recommend doubling the developer. For processing time, we do recommend 30 minutes. However, as I mentioned in the previous scenario, if you are only depositing color on bleached hair, start checking at about 20 minutes. But generally, even in that situation, it'll take somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes for the color to fully process. So in regards to the 3 hues, as you can see from left to right, we have carmine red, red mauve, and violet magenta. These colors are going to go from red to violet as you move from left to right, with carmine red being the reddest and violet magenta being the most purple. And down below we have our numbering system. If you're not familiar with Promaster's numbering system, we do have a video going over that specifically. But to go over it quickly here, the CR in this example is carmine red, which is the actual color or hue. The first number is going to be your deposit level. So that's going to be the concentration of the color and how strong that color is going to appear. The second number after the backslash, the 7, is going to resemble the levels of lift from virgin hair. So this is going to provide 7 levels of lift from virgin hair on our 20 level scale. And finally, the I is going to be unique for Promaster IC. You won't see that for any of our other colors. So do keep in mind that you're going to see an I at the end of all Promaster IC hues. And now onto Promaster IC's features. First and foremost with Promaster IC, what's going to be new is going to be the color technology that we use to create this color. We combine an additional colorant, which is this 1HE you see on the slide, with a traditional one. And with that, we are able to make a more vivid, intense, warm tone a reality. So I think from the previous slide, you'll notice that I mentioned that the developer, when using Promaster IC, is always going to be doubled. That is because Promaster IC is going to be a high lift and more concentrated color simultaneously compared to other Promaster lines. And what that means is Promaster IC is going to do a better job lifting virgin hair, and it's going to be more concentrated when you're depositing that color. And this 1HE colorant is what makes that possible. I believe we are the only Japanese hair color manufacturer to be currently using this colorant. So that is new for us. And because Promaster IC is highly concentrated and utilizes this new colorant, what you'll also notice is that the color lasts longer. Traditionally with reds, it tends to really, every time you shampoo, the color fades and fades eventually till there's nothing left. But you'll notice when using Promaster IC that the color lasts a lot longer and stays vivid much longer than your traditional red or warm hair colors. Currently, the hues are limited to warm tones, the 3 hues that I showed you on the previous slide from red to violet, but it is a specialized product for a niche need, so the lineup probably won't get any bigger than it is now. Now let's take a look at some model photos. We're going to have 3 slides here where we applied violet magenta or VM to all 3 models, but we used the color in a slightly different way for each model. So here on the first slide, you can see that the model has been bleached. Her hair has been bleached from about the middle to the ends, and we applied the violet magenta by itself using the 2% or 6.7 volume developer. It was processed for about 20 to 30 minutes, and you can just see how vivid and how strong that color is when you use the violet magenta by itself. On to the next slide and the second model. Her hair is also bleached, but you can see that it's quite a bit lighter than the model from the previous slide. For her, we decided to apply the violet magenta mixed with our monotone 9/8, MT9/8 at a 1:5 ratio. So 5 parts of the monotone, 1 part of the violet magenta. And this was also applied using our 2% or 6.7 volume developer. You could see that it's still quite vivid, but by using the monotone, you kind of give it a more soft, nuanced look. It has a bit of a pearl-like sheen to it. So this is another way that you can use the violet magenta. For our third and final model, you can see that her hair has also been previously bleached up to about a level 18 on our scale. We applied violet magenta mixed with LT, which is our lightening cream, at a 1:5 ratio with the 2% developer. The LT serves to dilute the pink to make it a more pastel color. And you'll notice looking at the after picture that this is an extremely pastel yet vivid pink. And traditionally this type of pink is very difficult to do with alkaline based hair color. You'd almost always have to use a semi-permanent color. But with the LT, you're able to dilute and make it possible. If you want it to be more pastel, you can up the ratio of the LT, say to 1 to 10, where you have 10 parts LT to 1 part of the violet magenta to make it even more pale. Now let's take a look at what Promaster IC looks like on some hair swatches. First up, we have Carmine Red, which is CR77I. On the left-hand side, you see the swatches before they were colored using the Carmine Red. And from left to right, those swatches are going to be 20 level, 17 level, and 13 level on our 20 level scale. The 20 level of Carmine Red looks very vibrant, very vivid. That's going to mimic hair that's been bleached to the maximum. And on 17 level, you still have those orange undertones, but the color is still very vibrant and vivid. It's honestly not that far off from the 20 level. And then on the right hand side, you have 13 level, which still has pretty strong orange undertones, so the color looks a little bit more brown and faded. For these next swatches, we're still using Carmine Red, but we're adding Clear, which is abbreviated by CL from our Pigment series, to dilute to see what Carmine Red looks like a little bit diluted. If you recall from the third model a couple slides ago, we used LT to dilute the magenta to look more pink. And this is the same concept, and you can interchange between Clear and LT. We're using Clear in this instance just to show you that it's possible with Clear. But the Clear, because it doesn't have any lifting ability, is going to be better if you're looking to mitigate damage. The LT, because it has the capability to lift and it's a lightening cream, it is going to create a little more damage. So if you're concerned about hair integrity for your clients, we recommend using the clear. So for these swatches, we mixed the carmine red and the clear at a 1:5 ratio. So 5 parts clear, 1 part carmine red. And as you can see from left to right again, the 20 level is looking pretty good as sort of a lighter pink. And on the 17 level as well, despite the orange undertone still there, it still looks really vibrant and really good. And on the 13 level, it's going to look a little bit more brown, just like in the previous example, but it still shows pretty pink. And to finish off the carmine red swatches, we're still mixing clear with this set, but we've changed the mix ratio to 1:10. So 10 parts clear and 1 part carmine red. The 20 level looks paler than in the previous slide, same with the 17 level, and with the 13 level it's going to look a little bit more brown. But this is just to show you that you can play around with these ratios and you can experiment on your own to figure out what's the perfect mix ratio for you. For this set, we're going to move on to the next color in the Promaster IC series, which is Red Mauve, or RM77I. And this first set is going to be the Red Mauve by itself. And what you'll notice right off the bat is that compared to the Carmine Red in the previous sets, the Red Mauve is going to lean a little bit more towards the violet side of the spectrum, whereas the Carmine Red was a more true red. And again, the 20 level, the 17 level, very vivid, very vibrant. And then the 13 level is going to have that deeper color due to the stronger undertones. We're going to follow the same pattern we did with the carmine red swatches. And so for this next set of red mauve, we're going to mix it with the clear at a 1:5 ratio. And the pink is a little bit different than what we got from when we diluted the carmine red. And there's sort of a bigger difference, I think, as well between the 20 level and the 17 level this time around. And then for the next set, we're going to look at it again, mixed it with the clear at a 1:10 ratio. And here, the pink is still very vibrant for the 20 level. It looks like a hot pink, which is pretty popular. I think traditionally for this type of pink, you'd have to use a semi-permanent color. But here we're doing it with a permanent color mixed with the clear, so it's going to be much longer lasting and stay this vibrant and vivid. If you look down at the 13 level, I think you'll notice that it's kind of hard to tell that it has any color at all. It kind of just looks like a muddied brown. And so this kind of gives you an idea of what ratios do at each level. And again, hopefully this kind of sparks your creativity to see what ratio works for you. And to wrap things up, we have Violet Magenta, which is abbreviated VM77I. And you guys are a little bit more familiar with the Violet Magenta already because we used this color for the 3 model photos we showed you earlier in the slideshow. If you take a look at what it looks like when diluted with clear at a 1:5 ratio, it's very different than what we saw with the Carmine Red and Red Mauve when they were diluted. This one, really that violet tone kicks in. And even when you look at it at a 1:10 ratio, it's very unique and it still maintains a very vivid color. And I also wanted to say here as well that you are more than welcome to mix the Violet Magenta, the Red Mauve, and the Carmine Red as you please to create your own reds, your own purples, your own pinks. And the concept is similar to the rest of the Promaster line, so please feel free to play around with it and get creative. Thanks for tuning in to today's introduction to Promaster IC. If you have any questions, please reach out to your sales representative, or you can reach out to us at our contact information below. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.